Back to Tim Arnold to talk about Super Connected, which is going on tour from this Thursday. And phone free. Actually, I was asking you about your own relationship with your phone before we interrupted you. And you've gone to a phone which has no longer got the kind of technology in it that would constantly distract you. How have you found that change?
Well, it's not the first time I've tried to make that change, for a start. I mean, I should say this, I'm not unscathed by the problem that so many of us have with phones. I mean, I've given up. I made Super Connected without a smartphone, which I look back on now and think, God, I don't know how I did that. But at the moment, I love speaking and listening. Sound is my way in. I'm sure with you as well, with your background with music. I really started missing the fact that nobody wanted to have conversations anymore on the phone. So that was the first thing I noticed. And then, like Sherry Turkle's book said, people don't seem to, they want to be able to tell you what they want to say when they want to say it, and they want to hear your reply when they feel like hearing it. And we're all guilty of it, but I've kind of drawn myself out of that so that I have as many audio conversations as possible now.
That's fascinating, because yesterday I had a conversation with someone about how 18 to 24-year-olds now don't want to use the phone as a means of talking to each other. That's not what it's for. Yeah. And I'm an evangelist for conversation, right?
Of course.
Which I don't know if that makes me sound old, or, my kids, there are no mobile phones on our table when we're sitting down to eat together. There's quite strict controls on their use of it. I'm terrible with it. Like I have to keep my mobile phone out of my room at night, just constantly just doom scrolling nonsense. So I'm definitely not perfect in this by any stretch of imagination. I'm trying to change. What do you miss most from not having this kind of perception of being super connected?
How do you mean in terms of how life
not having a smartphone, that you can constantly access, that's constantly connecting you to the outside world?
There's so many things. I mean, eye-to-eye contact with people, and I'd say that because even when we're with somebody else, a lot of the time, one of us might be just quickly looking at the phone all the time. I've done it. I think we've all done it. And I think the author Douglas Rushkoff says it'd be really great if we could just all start practicing just looking eye to eye for 10 seconds a day, because there is a connection without we are the ultimate technology. That's my feeling, the heart and the mind, and when we're together, and community. And I think the technology that we speak about when we use that word is incredible and it's amazing. But I think it's at a stage now where we have to sort of bring some of the things that we've left behind with us on the journey towards the future,
It's brilliant. And also, people that turn up to the shows, what is your attitude to smartphones coming into the venues?
We're inviting people, not forcing them, but we're inviting audiences to go smartphone free. And part of this was because many people I've met and many people that I've worked with often say, I'm just trying to dig like 1 hour a day where I just don't have the phone on or something. And so we thought, well, let's make our shows just over an hour. So let's make our show into that 1 hour a day where you don't have to have your phone. And we're going to stimulate you with something else, which is about phones instead. So we have pouches everybody can put their phones into, and they get locked. They keep their phones with them. So it's not like no one's confiscating a phone. And we have a facilitator because some people have been known to get triggered and they don't want to let go of their phone, which is fine.
Nomophobia, apparently, is an actual word for it.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah. And that's the other reason I've kind of trying to get off the actual smartphones. I believe the laptop is a relationship where the hands are stretched out and we're at a distance, which is kind of okay, like piano. But when we've got a smartphone, it's a bit more like guitar. It's just part of you, and when it's not there, you really notice it's missing. That's my experience of it. And so, of course, there's a lot of musicians that are coming to see the show as well. So I think they're interested in not having the phone for that period. But what we found when we did it live at the Roundhouse last year was that afterwards we expected everyone to be rushing to get their phone back, and they weren't. Most people were just saying, I'm sort of seeing things a bit differently now. So yeah, it's a rock and roll show, and it's a movie, and it's funny, and it's dramatic and moving, but it's also a kind of excuse to, I don't know, make a bit more room for what's inside us to come out, which is hard to do when you're constantly being, bombarded with stuff from a phone.
Yeah, it's so true. This has taken quite a lot of your life and a lot of your thought processes to get to this point. What's next, Tim?
I'm sort of in the super connected universe. I mean, the album, I'm independent, so things take longer. It's not like when a major artist releases something and you move on quickly to the next project. This came out a year ago, and now it's a year later. We're doing the first tour, and we're starting tomorrow, which is amazing. And I just think I want to serve it. I feel that in the world at the moment, there's good news and bad news. The bad news is that I do believe that we're in the middle of the first mass denial of addiction that we've ever known. But the good news is there's more people working in the addiction field than ever before, and lots of different ways of combating addiction. And I think it's still quite radical for some people to think that the smartphone might be seen like a kind of, a drug. But there's more people sort of waking up to it now. And I think art is a non-judgmental way to express that. And so, with the songs, with the theatre show and the film, it's a fun way to look at something that is quite serious.